and a serial entrepreneur. Many prospective entrepreneurs aren't sure where to start, and in a little while I'll share some information about SCORE. So we'll get to our first guest. Blain Wease is the founder and president of the Provincial Development Group, a professional services firm that he launched in 2004. They work with small to mid-sized businesses that have flat or declining revenue to help them achieve their growth objectives. They also assist with transition and exit planning. Additionally, Blain is founder and host of the Nashville Leadership Luncheon, held each spring and fall at the Bridgestone Arena. Blain, thanks for being here.
Pete, thanks for having me. I enjoy our time together.
I do too. So on this, let's talk a little bit about revenue growth. So what are some common barriers that keep companies from growing?
Well, the first is a little paradoxical because it's great for companies to have goals, and I encourage all my clients to have goals, but what can happen with goals is they can create an internal focus that takes you away from a client focus. And so what I mean by that is if you have a goal to grow by 20%, well, you can get so internally minded about what your company's going to need to do to grow 20% that you lose the perspective of what value do we have to add to our clients to justify asking for more revenue. And what that creates is this misleading or misguiding focus on the inside of the company instead of the people that you're set out to help.
Absolutely. That just makes me crazy when that happens. Before I was an entrepreneur, I was a sales professional, and I landed at some companies that they were so focused internally. It's a wonder we ever gained any customers.
Yeah, that's a great example, Pete. Another thing I would say about that is that productivity can sometimes be the enemy or certainly a distraction from creativity and strategy. And what I mean by that is if you as a business owner are so focused on your to-do list today that you crowd out any time or any margin to think more strategically or creatively about what you could do differently, about where you want to be 3 years from now and what it would take to get there, that tyranny of the urgents, as I think Stephen Covey said, is another barrier to growth because of the everyday focus and not lifting your vision up higher.
That's really good input, because if you don't sit back and we had a guest on the last show that was talking about this exact thing. So how have you helped some of your clients that have faced some of these challenges?
Well, one of the most helpful places that I find to help folks is to go back to what I call the Genesis vision. And the Genesis vision is, why did you start this business in the first place? Because no one ever starts a business not to help people, right? You're going to help solve some problem. That's what generates business. And so if you can get an owner to reflect back on that initial instinct or that initial desire to make a positive difference in people's lives, which is really another way of looking at what a business is, then you can take them back to a healthy foundation and help recreate that interest and that zeal to do that. Another thing that I strongly encourage people to do that sounds simple, but a lot of folks get away from it, is just stay close to the voice of the client. Take your clients to lunch. Set up periodic meetings with them. Don't get so busy as a business owner, again, working in the business, that you don't take time to listen to one of the most significant voices that your business can hear, and that's the voice of the client or the customer.
That is really good. I love this. So how would you advise an entrepreneur that has grown their company to the point where they need to create a business development platform and hire people to continue to expand?
Well, that is a really, really good question. So the first thing I would say is there's often a naivety about how hard good business development and that platform is to build. And so one of the things that I start with is, if it was as simple as you're saying it is or you're acting like it is, wouldn't everyone be wildly successful? Meaning, that would be easy to replicate if it was that easy to build. So the first thing is get educated about the reality of it and realize that business development done well is much like a golfer. If I I had a chance to be a marshal in a ladies U.S. Open back in Denver a few years ago, and when I watched Michelle Wie and some of the other players hit the ball, they made it look so easy. I mean, they just swung effortlessly. It was like ballet with a golf club, and so there's the parallel there is they're so good it makes it look deceivingly easy, but they had to spend hours and hours and hours getting to that position in order to be that good, and that's where the real work is, and I think that's analogous to how people can get better. The other thing that I would say is recognize that there's a certain skill set that if you're really operationally minded or highly analytical that you might not have, and so getting outside help, getting outside counsel, and spending time with people that are really good at it will organically help you grow and appreciate what you need.
I like that. Let me take a moment and talk about SCORE before we get to the next question. So, ladies and gentlemen, SCORE offers low-cost classes and no-charge counseling specifically to guide folks through thinking about starting and succeeding in business. More information is available at scorenashville.org. Make sure to click on the Workshops tab at the top of the page, and they're usually a half day, are held mainly on weekends, and about $25. And so we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a moment and talk more with Blain. Thank you.